You're gone and I gotta stay.
Corey, star Anthony Cotton on his storyline shocker. Weatherfield favorites, including Anthony, are said to be upset at being left out of the big plots centered on violence and suicide. But Cotton's character Sean Tully is going to be back in the spotlight thanks to a poignant and serious story, one of the last masterminded by producer Kate Holtz before she quit. He says, "I've just begun the first part of a storyline that's going to run for quite a while over the summer. It is a very unusual storyline, very serious and not what people would expect from Sean. It will come good, but it's a very poignant and serious story. It's not what I expected and I was taken aback when I heard what it was. But it is a subject that's very close to my heart and I will reveal all in time." The actor, 42, also hit back at critics who have slammed the soap as too violent, following Pat Fellon's murder spree, Bethany Platt's sex abuse and Aidan Connor's suicide. He says, "Unfortunately that is modern life. The Street explores exciting and challenging storylines as it's always done. It has always approached these kind of subjects, but then it will bounce back with a funny or touching scene. And it will always have those brilliant episodes that are purely about character and nothing to do with explosions or rape or murder. It's just the downside of social media that it just takes one person to say something negative and it gets picked up. Those critics are just getting themselves in a twist, Anthony. Those critics are just getting themselves in a twist. Corey will always be Corey at heart. Anthony is celebrating 15 years on the show this month and would love to become the new Norris and Rita with pal Jenny McAlpine, Fizz Brown." He adds, "I thought I'd be there for 3 months and here I am 15 years later. And I fully intend to stay for 15 more. Jenny and I have always said we'll become Norris and Rita and I'd be honored to do that. There are always ups and downs, but on the whole it's been nothing but a joy and I am very grateful to Coronation Street for the opportunities it's given me. If I get down or despondent with the idea I am still doing the same thing, I very quickly remember I wouldn't have as rich a life or experience if it wasn't for Coronation Street." Away from Corey, Anthony is a huge supporter of our armed forces and does a lot of work for charities SAFA, which supports servicemen and their families, and Help for Heroes as ambassador. "It's my way of saying thank you for their service," explains Anthony. "There's always someone who needs help and I'm very lucky that I've been able to be involved with those charities and the mod. It's my thank you to my friends who have served and the sacrifices they make. I've been to Whitehall to speak to the government about what help can be given. And I've spoken to thousands of people who have struggled with physical injuries or hidden wounds like PTSD. People feel they don't have a voice, and no one knows what they've gone through, so it's been a real privilege to sit down and hear their stories." Anthony was also inspired to raise money for Help for Heroes after personally taking a serviceman pal of his to be treated there. He explains, "I have had a couple of friends who are suffering from the stress of war. A friend of mine was struggling very badly and I went up to the recovery center in Cataract Garrison to make sure he was there. He was tucked in at night, he was happy and stayed to get the help he needed. He did, and as I left I had a real epiphany and said, I'm going to do whatever I can to help this place." Anthony even climbed Ben Nevis last year to raise money but admits people wouldn't necessarily associate a gay actor from Corrie with the forces. He says, "I know it doesn't appear I would be a natural fit, you wouldn't automatically think it makes sense. People have a version in their head of what I am and actually quite a lot of the time I don't fit that mold." Anthony also honors every fallen serviceman and woman by paying tribute to them on Twitter even if he didn't know them. "For me it's not just about Remembrance Sunday," he adds. "It's an ongoing thing. The Dancing on Ice star is working with Soften on a new campaign. They are encouraging people to share photos and stories from World War I. Anthony says, "My mum has always had a biscuit tin of photos and in this is a picture of a man in First World War Army dress. We've never known who he was, but my mum thinks it might be my great-grandfather. He's always been referred to as the Unknown Soldier, which is the name of the war memorial in Westminster Abbey. The armed forces are a huge part of our history. So it's important to keep the memories and legacy alive of the people who made sacrifices, in some cases the ultimate sacrifice.